Facebook and Instagram is playing that particular thing with us. So yes, I'm going to add Tisca again. Just give me a second, and meanwhile, you can ask what you all want to ask about her book, about her in person. And yes, a lot of haze and highs are happening. Yes, we are again live with her. Just 1 second, she is joining in. And we have her connected. Just 1 second. Meanwhile, I was saying you, yes, you are back.
Hi. I don't know what happened. I think we kind of got into a logjam of some.
Yes, yeah, that was I was telling that all good things take some time. So that explains the jamming.
Wonderful explanation, Shweta. Yes, that.
Okay, Tisca, everybody knows about you as an actress, film producer, a kind person, helper, but here we are to know you more about as an author. How this journey, I'll come to the point because there are a lot of anxious messages to me that why the live hasn't started and all. So how this journey from, an actor to author?
Um, I think essentially we're all looking to tell stories. That's the main idea. Even if you're a musician or even if you're sketching something or drawing something, you're trying to
Yeah.
communicate something. And that communication can take the form of a written word, it can take the form of an expression, it can take the
Hmm.
form of sand art, anything. So you're just trying to essentially uh, communicate your experience on this planet in some way.
Hmm.
And this is what I'm seeing. And do you also see the same? Do you see the shape in the cloud? Do you
Yeah.
see the on the petals? Do you see that? And see
Yeah,
that
definitely. And
really what it is.
definitely, that I would say that, you need to have a vision for that. There are stories, there are beautiful stories everywhere around us. But then when you say that you look for stories everywhere, then is it something like, your real life, like, your the Bollywood life somehow gets, attached out here or somehow gets connected out here too?
Somehow gets connected to what?
To the writing part, to the book writing part, to like, you're looking for stories. So then, does Bollywood plays an inspiration connect out here too?
So this I've written two books. My first book was
Yeah.
called Art, and that's
Mm.
essentially for young um, aspiring actors, models,
Hmm.
influencers. It's all about being in the public life. So it's about
Hmm.
the right kind of colors to wear, the right kind of voice to use, image, presentation, PR, blah 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 blah. So it's all of that. So it's called Acting Smart. It's the business of showbiz. It's
Hmm.
not a So that was my first book. And my second book is called What's Up with Me, and that's
Me,
a book
yeah.
teenage, preteen girls, which is, there's a lot of confusion and anxiety pertaining to young adulthood, transitioning from being a kid to being an adult. And puberty has so many aspects to it which are very hush hush. Nobody talks about them, nobody discusses it openly.
Hmm.
So I to actually use this opportunity, and it's a lockdown baby. It happened in the last lockdown. So the whole idea of the
Yeah.
be able to reach out to young girls. And my own daughter is 8 years old, so the idea was to be able to make the path easier for young girls.
True. Definitely, I can connect so that because clearly showing it or not, it does connect me so much with what information was available to me when I was, in that age, particularly. I would say so much wrong information was available to me. And when I was reading this book, I'm like, this is the correct time for teenage, girls. Or then there is a section also where you're talking about boys also going to puberty. So it's so beautiful to see you, in a different paradigm altogether. I mean, I'm seeing you a different person, as such a different person.
Thank you so much.
What did inspire you? What motivated you to write about this one particularly?
So my editor Vidhi Bhargava, she's
Hmm.
written. She messaged me and she said, "I
Hmm.
want to talk to you." And she was with me in school, my younger brother's classmate. And she said, "Would you consider writing a book which is for young girls? And
Hmm.
could it take the shape of letters from a to her daughter. So I said, I don't know, whatever. She said, the lockdown is the perfect time. Write it. You can write it. So I said, okay. She knew about my writing rights in school and college and all of that. So she said, try, think about it. I said, okay, think about it. And then I started thinking about it, and I said, there's actually, Southeast Asia is a very unique culture. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, all of these areas, we have a very particular kind of culture. And we are very family oriented, and we have our own sort of systems and traditions. And I think that we don't have a certain openness to talk about certain biological facts like periods. So in my house, I've kept a very sort of open understanding, and like a very open way of talking about things like a vagina is a vagina, breasts are breasts, whatever is whatever. We talk about it in a very practical, forthright manner because it's biology. And we're in look at this. People are now reaching Mars and all of that, and we're still talking about these things in a very like a secret, quiet way. And I think it's a waste of time. You just need to get on with this stuff and get it out of the way and just make it. So I wanted to normalize periods. Till the time young kids are pre-puberty, they're just like bache. They're like one large group called bache. The minute girls get their period and boys start becoming older, it becomes girls and boys, and then girls start getting put on the back foot because she's got a period, बात नहीं करना, kitchen में नहीं जाना, अचार नहीं लगा, को हाथ नहीं लगाना, मंदिर नहीं जाना, नहीं करना, I just kind of find that extremely idiotic because 50% of the planet gets their period or should get their period anyway. So why this? Why this kind of like this whole shroud of secrecy around it? You go to a chemist and the chemist will wrap your sanitary napkins in a newspaper and give them to you. Tampons will be given in one like like कि बहुत ही गलत काम कर रहा है. अरे अगर आपके नहीं पैदा होंगे. So that's the
No, I see that approach in your book too. The way you are telling, like as a story. Yeah, please go on. I just couldn't laugh. I just stopped laughing at the scene.
Because like what's going on with that, and then dads will not talk about it to their daughters. It'll be like some very veiled reference. The mothers will have this discussion. So I wanted to actually open this up and have this conversation right up front with families. And this is the time where we're headed to. I mean, we're in the middle of another lockdown now, and I wanted to make sure that families have this conversation. Where they pick up the book and families and I've got Dr. Mala Arora, who's a leading gynecologist. I've got Malvika Verma, who's a wonderful psychologist. I've got Akanksha Agnihotri, who's done the wonderful doodles in the book.
Yes.
So I've got people who've sort of helped to make the book what it is. And I wanted to give science to young girls because they're bright and smart and sassy.
True.
And I don't want any bullshit from anybody. Young girls, I see my daughter, and she wants right answers to right things, and I was like, why not? I mean, they deserve the truth, and it'll make their journey easier once they understand what's happening with my hormones, what are my developing breasts about, why do I have hair coming all over my body. Once they read, they will be comforted. They'll know it's happening to everyone in different degrees. And also I wanted to address the idea of body shaming because it starts very young. It starts at puberty, that your breasts are not big, your breasts are too big, they're this, they're that. So, all of that, I wanted to sort of make the journey easier.
Yeah, that's in your book. It's more like a conversation between you and your daughter, or a conversation which a parent would have. I won't even use the word your mother or father. A parent should have with the child. It's equally interesting for a young, a parent who is having a young daughter or a young son. It's involving. I see those little doodles. It even catches my attention. It is nice to see those colors being used, that advice special section being done. So it is very intriguing. At the same time, you mentioned about these topics are not spoken about. A lot of times, parents would try to talk to their kid about the same, but it's not easy. How to open up this particular conversation? How we can really do that?
It is for cultural reasons. It's something that is discussed, and we have a certain amount of sort of shame and what we call aankh ki sharam and all that. Why sharam for biology? That's what I don't understand.
Okay.
Daughter didn't get her period, that would be the reason to sort of take her to a doctor. It could be a sign of endometriosis or PCOD or something. That's the important thing for parents to understand. And I wrote this book because I wanted brothers and sisters, fathers and daughters, mothers and fathers and daughters, and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles to sit down and read the book together, so that they can all read it together and say, oh, okay, if you're going to be going through this or are already going through this, this is what this talks about, this is the reason for this. So you're not the only one who's sort of dealing with this thing at this point. So there's your kid is going through it. And also I've talked a little bit about the biology of boys, so that for girls it's not such a surprise for that matter.
True.
It's like they also understand that boys have their own issues when it comes to puberty, and that those can be addressed. So I've like tried to do that in the book, and it is my hope that parents will pick up this book and use it as a conversation starter. We're also getting lots of requests from schools to sort of have the in the library and hand it out to parents as part of a kit for classes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that this becomes an easier thing. It's a lively book. It's a light book, but it's backed by science, and it's a it talks about things like during teenage years you have a lot of issues with your parents. So how to deal with your parents, how to deal with your friends, frenemies, all of those things.
And you have acknowledged it that that it's not going to be a perfect life ahead. You have spoken about how to protect yourself in cyberspace, and there are like so many things you have spoken about. Also, you have given a thought about what all challenges, not just puberty, about what all challenges girls, specifically more I would say more preferences about the girls in the book. So then there is a question which I couldn't miss at this point, because this was just asked. There are like hundred of comments coming in, no doubt, all about how amazing you are, how superb you are. But there was this one specific question which asked how, what is the age they can, read this book with their daughter? There was specifically a question was asked about it.
I think it's a very good question. Whoever's asking, bravo, good question. My daughter's 8, and because I wrote the book, I first passed it through her hands. She edited it, whether she liked it. So I would imagine 8, 8.5, maybe 9, something like that. Something would be a good age. Because as I understand, girls are starting to get their period a lot earlier now. It variety of reasons. Earlier the age was around 12, 13, but now it's 10. So 9, 10, 10, 11. I mean, whatever is suitable to you, depending on how your family is talking about it and how open you feel to discuss this. But I sort of that's sort of the right age to talk about it.
Definitely. I mean, and also we'll take some more questions. But before that, any particular story, any, para from your book which you want to talk about specifically, which you want to mention?
Yes, of course. So my one of the things that I wanted to sort of it was an interesting book to write, because there are so many options available today. See, growing up today is very different for young kids as it was, say, your time, my time. I think one of the things that I wanted to make young girls and their parents aware that while getting your period or your developing body is something that earlier was dealt with in a way that kuch bhi manage kar lo kuch karke. But today with corporates or brands, so you have the right kind of bras for developed size. So there's cup sizes around the chest, all of that. You have different kinds of pads available for low flow, heavy flow, longer, wider, very thin panty liners, all sorts of things available. So that's wonderful. Plus you have eco-friendly pads, you have options in terms of the kind of skincare available for young kids. You have very organic things, you have things which are good for young girls to use. You have different kinds of deodorants and shampoos for puberty, which will help kids transition a phase where everything's getting very oily. You have all sorts of clothes available which will sort of enhance your if you're feeling self-conscious, then help you sort of deal with all of that. So I'm saying the choices that were there. So we had to really like go through all of that and understand. As we were writing the book, more choices were coming
Mm.
in. So I'm saying things are becoming so much better and wonderful. And for parents, it's good to know that there is so much available for their children, because everyone wants their child to have a happy time growing up, to have a lovely,
Definitely.
to not have stress. So so many apps to, like, music to calm you down, mood things, all of this. There's so much for skincare, for younger, slightly older teens, even like the kind of makeup, very little light lip gloss, which is kind of beeswax and can tint the lips a little.
Hmm.
That it's all organic and not harming young kids. So how so all of that was a interesting challenge to write that section of the book, and my editor Vidhi and I were talking about it all the time. The other thing we tried to be very conscious of the times in terms of gender, because gender fluidity is such a big conversation right now. So we wanted to
Yes.
write if a girl likes another girl, if a boy likes another boy, and all of
Hmm.
that. We tried to be sensitive to the time in that way as well. So yeah, it was interesting.
I mean, I would say that it is a book plus guide. It is not just a book, it's a guide. And one of the parent has asked, so he has a boy of 10, yeah, almost 10 years of age, and can he read this book to him?
I think so. I think so. That would be wonderful, and I would consider you one hell of a progressive dad if you gave this book to your son. Because what I think is lacking in India anyway is that boys don't have empathy for women, and they don't have empathy starting out at it starts at the time of puberty, because young girls
Hmm.
don't get the kind of understanding that they would from boys as to their period. So I remember that I read this somewhere. Some boy had saw his friend, a school friend, in the bus, and she had stained her clothes, and he gave her a safety pin and said, "Okay, you can pin it up for now." And he walked behind her and made sure he reached her home. And she said, "That's very sweet of you." He said, "No, it's just normal of me." And I just thought, what wonderful
Hmm.
parent that boy has, that he has such
Yes.
sensitivity at a young age to be able to understand that how that girl might be feeling because she stained her clothes. And that's a very normal thing. So I think that this kind of sensitivity would go a long way in changing the conversation around puberty and girls and gender equality.
True, true. I see, a lot of comments being said that I'm definitely buying this book, and I can see the messages out here also. So I would take this liberty of saying that if you want an author signed copy, get in touch with us, and we will try to arrange an author signed copy for you. And I take that honor in saying it.
I will
And
send 10 copies to KITABE Club in
uh,
a very, very special announcement to be made, which we'll make at the
yes.
end of the live. But for now, let's say that for that very special announcement, there'll be ten author signed copies that will come to you from.
Oh my God. So I will have two copies. I'll say this as this was 10 was a mistake. It was 901. I will keep as an author signed copy.
Yeah.
And there was one more question that are you planning to, have the book in, in another language also? Any plans on that?
I think so. I have spoken about this internally, but I haven't yet
Hmm.
spoken to my. But I do plan to speak to her and ask her to do this in other languages, because I do see that there is a gap in terms of at least Hindi.
Hmm.
Then let's see how that goes.
Definitely. And also, any other book in progress? Okay, this is a more of an insider question.
So I have just finished writing a film script, and I want to direct that. So writing
Wow.
that shape. Yes, I don't know if anyone has seen this short film that I wrote and directed called Rubaru. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
RUBRU, Rubaru.
Hmm.
Have a look if you guys can. That's interesting. And also, I've written another short film called Chutney, which did really
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
That people have seen. I think a lot of people. Um,
Okay, and also, there are questions like how do you find time to read? How do you do that?
how do I
I'm
find time?
sure you read. How do you find time to read? Because you have obviously everything to do.
I think that reading finds you rather than you try and find reading. Uh, it's a need. It's. Thank you, Manju, that you've liked Rubaru. Thank you. I saw just saw that comment. It jumped out.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of a compulsion, but you know, as life gets hectic and takes over, one starts to get busy with other things. But I
Hmm.
think that it's a kind of a habit. It's like, you know, आप चाय पीते हो तो, you know, I like to have a book to read with my chai. I like that in the morning. I like to spend some quiet time reading. Um, yeah, and I also feel that thank you. मेरा शर्ट बहुत प्यारा है. ये जयपुर में एक बहुत ही सुंदर दुकान है जिसका नाम है अनूठी. वहां से है.
Hmm.
Please,
Okay.
लेना चाहें तो अनूठी से ले लेंगे शर्ट. Yeah, so as I was saying, there's a lot of things that one doesn't do because one wastes a lot of time. So one of the things that I do is I make a kind of list. I'm a very list oriented person, a very goal oriented person, and for me,
Okay.
I set out my day saying, okay, today I have to do this, and I make sure I finish all of that. And I make sure I
Wow.
pencil in relaxation time and I pencil in time to read. So, yes. Somebody asked me any plans to do a Marathi movie. Let me add here that Marathi movies are really, really, really uh, paving the way for
Hmm.
cinema in India. They're cutting edge and they're amazing. You guys have such amazing talent. I've done one film with Umesh and Girish Kulkarni called Highway, and I would
Hmm.
love to do another one. I'm looking forward. कुछ अच्छा स्क्रिप्ट आएगा तो मेरा बहुत मन है करने का.
Oh,
National
wow.
crush from Dil To Bacha. I didn't know there was such a crush like a national anthem. Okay, but good. What
And
someone's asking, my favorite
yeah.
books, I like Yuval Noah Harari, Sapiens. I've liked Malcolm Gladwell. I've liked Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. If I need a little pick me up, then I like Paulo Coelho. I like stuff like that. I like reading a lot of spiritual stuff. And when I'm not reading that, I like reading a lot of Nordic crime fiction. I love crime
Oh,
fiction. So that
nice.
is one. Lots of others. So yes.
Okay, and I see there are like a lot of questions asked. I'll just club them up. And so, if you want to really, write the next book, obviously I know it's not yet planned, but then if you want to really write a next book, what topic would you choose?
I've written two non-fiction books, so I think the third one should be fiction. I have an idea which is a children's book series that I want to write with a friend of mine, Kiran Manral. I've already spoken to her, and I want to develop that first, write it as a book, and then develop that as a series. So maybe I will do
Hmm.
that because you know I
Okay.
night I tell my daughter stories. She won't sleep till I don't tell her a story. And करते करते
How
करते
sweet.
उसका वो भंडार इतना बन गया है उन कहानियों का because it's one protagonist
Hmm.
and she
Hmm.
all these adventures. So I'm kind of thinking maybe.
Okay. I am like, there are tons of questions. This is one I would like to add that, given a choice from whatever books you have read, this is from the DMs we have received, what one character from the book would you like to play? What would be one protagonist or one, like you mentioned about the thrillers, कोई ऐसे है Sherlock Holmes, ऐसे कुछ है आपके मन में? I would be doing that. Obviously, movies give you a lot of scope, but then anybody from the real life or the book life you want to play with.
Um, would have to be Sherlocky Holmesy. Because obviously, if Sherlock was a girl, then I would love to play that. Yeah, cool detective would be so cool to play. I would love that. I'd love to play a spy. I'd love to do something like that. Intrigue. That kind of stuff interests me. I love that kind of stuff. I haven't done a romance
Hmm.
quite some time. I think the last thing I did was like Dil To Bachcha Hai Ji, and also there was like a Hungry, which I did, which was kind of
Hmm.
some love there, but not like a full-fledged love story, like a Bridges of Madison County. That film, I don't know why I was
Yes.
thinking about it last night. Clint Eastwood. I was like, oh my God, that just like, killed me. That was amazing. And Meryl Streep, all of that was such a beautiful love story. Um, I'd love to do something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I don't see the question stopping, and it's getting on and on. But yes, you are having a lot of other commitments.
Right, somebody's written Enola Holmes. Yes, 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 Enola Holmes. Yes.
Yes. So let's go toward the announcement which this guy is going to make, and yes, we are waiting for that.
So, KITABE Club is launching its website today,
Yes.
www.kitabe.in.
KitabeClub.in.
Club.in. It's being launched today, and I'm really honored to be able to make that announcement. And for all the readers across the country in so many cities, आप सबके लिए ये कितना बेहतरीन मौका है for all readers to connect. And I'm so happy that I'm here to make that announcement. And as part of that announcement, I'd like to contribute 10 books to people who enroll on that website, the first 10 um, to get a copy of signed
Oh my
copy.
God. This is a hard time doing it. Okay, thank you so much. I mean, this cannot get any better. And yes, thank you once again for joining in. And this has been phenomenal.
Thank you,
Uh,
everyone, for tuning in and coming on to this live and making it so special. Shweta, I'd just like to take another minute here to say that we're in the second wave of COVID, and it is really bad across the country. There's a lockdown हर जगह पे.
hmm,
मुंबई में, पूना में स्थिति बहुत खराब है. मेरा शूट जो राजस्थान में चल रहा था वो बंद कर
hmm.
दिया कि कोविड परमिशंस और रिस्ट्रिक्शंस बहुत सिवियर हो गए, एंड दैट्स जस्ट द वे इट शुड बी. मेरी आप सबसे एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है कि ये समय बहादुरी का नहीं है. बहादुरी का अलग समय आएगा. इस समय बहादुरी की निशानी या उसका प्रतीक है कि आप अपना और अपने परिवार वालों का, अपने अपने जो बुजुर्ग लोग हैं उनकी वजह से घर से बाहर ना निकलें. मैं भी अपने घर के अंदर हूँ, दिल्ली में हूँ अपने परिवार के साथ. तो प्लीज़ आप लोग घर पे ही रहें. अगर बहुत ही ज़रूरी हो तो ही बाहर निकलें तो मास्क पहन के निकलें. मास्क आपकी चिन के लिए या गर्दन के लिए नहीं है, आपके नाक के लिए है. नाक के ऊपर ऐसे कायदे से लगाएं, बिकॉज ये जो सेकेंड वेव है ये बहुत ही पावरफुल है. और जितने भी डॉक्टर्स से मैं बात कर रही हूँ उन सब से मुझे यही पता चल रहा है कि ये बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग और पावरफुल है वायरस इस बार, और बच्चों को भी नहीं बख्श रहा है. तो प्लीज़ घर पे रहें, और अगर बाहर जाना ही है तो मास्क पहन कर जाएं, हाथ सैनिटाइज करें, हाथ धोते रहें. ये सब बातें आपको पता है. और अपनी जैसे ही आपकी बारी आए अपनी वैक्सीनेशन प्लीज़ लगवा लें. बहुत झुंड में और ग्रुप्स में जमा ना हो. ये अभी 1-1.5 महीना चलेगा ये सेकेंड वेव, तो प्लीज़ बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल and stay safe. And there are lots of things to do at home, family के साथ. Do that now. This is a great time to read now that you're as a part of KITABE Club. So, sending you lots of love and prayers.
Thank you.
Stay happy, stay safe, and lots of love.
Thank you so much. There are a lot of comments which say that this shouldn't end up, this should be continued. But yes, I'm going to save this IGTV. You can watch it later on also.